What's good, men? Let's talk about why they can never win. Good morning, afternoon, and evening, gentlemen. Hammerhand, the MGTOW monk, back at you. One more again. Yo, man, I was poring over some data concerning us, men, boys, how we're being crushed, but how things are starting to, how shall I say this, take a bit of a dip for the oppressor. And that would also be for the lapdogs of the oppressor, the ankle biters, the people that swarm on you to try to silence you. You see, that's the only tactic up until recently that they had that worked, that meant anything at all. And it worked because the people that were defending their positions were doing it poorly. You know, if you say, hey man, I'm a MGTOW, or I'm a monk, or I'm a red pillar, or I just don't want to get married, I'm a confirmed bachelor. If you say anything of this nature, it automatically triggers these people, automatically, because they understand innately what it means. It means that you're no longer willing to entertain the idea of supporting them. It means that they're on their own. And they can't debunk that. They can't deconstruct. They can't deconstruct you. Because you've taken the time to make yourself smarter, to be wiser, to open up both of those ears and listen. And I find that people that listen can take apart any of those really poor, pathetic arguments. And it's a shame. It's a shame that you have to be in such a position, that you have to be schooled and learned, but you have to be. And I think a lot of the men surrounding the MRAs and MGTOW and anything that has to do with men's rights as a whole, I think a lot of them are very smart, very intelligent. So, yeah. And hooking up with what they would call the intellectual dark web, you know, just smart people that don't listen to bullshit, that don't get kicked, that refuse to bend the knee. They can't debunk you, gentlemen, men. They can't debunk you. If you didn't know the first thing about anything, all you knew was that you were being used. And you said, I don't like that. I don't think I'm going to do that anymore. They're going to swarm on you. They're going to try to take you apart. And if you give them credence, if you give them the time of day, that's part of what they're looking for. Interaction with you, a response from you. Over the last few months, I have observed a number of red pillars, MGTOW, monk, that do not engage with buffoonery. Excuse me a sec while we go over this bridge. It's so noisy. There you go. We do not engage with buffoonery. Why do we not engage with buffoonery? Because it serves no purpose. When somebody comes to me or someone else in the community and they say, you shouldn't be the way that you are because, they're automatically DOA. They're dead in the water. Because I know where it comes from. It comes from a lack of understanding, greed, avarice, apathy. Yes, sir. That's where it comes from. You have to kind of dive into the idea that these people don't necessarily hate you. A lot of them do, and that's a real base emotion. It's a base instinct. But they hate what it is that they are. Does that make sense? Let me clean that up for you. They hate the fact that they know in their heart of hearts that if you walk away from them, their productivity starts to decline, if not cease altogether. You see, they can't have all of those wonderful things that you can generate for yourself because of your industriousness, because of your biological advantage. You see, that's not my fault. If I was born a woman, I'd be an ambitious, industrious motherfucker. But I was born a man. So I take advantage of all the things that are made for me. You see? You say, well, Hammer, what's made for you, bro? Isn't that institutionalizing, blah, blah, blah? No. See, when I go out to my yard and I hook up to my trailer and I get ready to do my runs, and I see a woman underneath her trailer, she can't get the landing gear up, she can't pull the pin on the fifth wheel, there is always a guy out there ready and willing to help. Always. Now, me personally, I have run right on by them. I've told them straight. Actually, I didn't say a fucking word, but, in my mind, I'm like, I'm sorry, honey, you took the job. You do the thing. You took the job, you do the thing. You figure it out. Because if I was out there, you couldn't help me. I have to figure it out. And that's the way that I treat all of this. And that includes weak males. Now, I don't mean physically weak. I mean weak-minded. It's interesting to me to see how these people clamor for your attention. Now, I've said this many times. We don't go to them. They come to us. You see how that works? That is, in their parlance, a binary. And it never works both ways. It's always one polar direction. They come to us. They come to us to try to start shit, to try to kick the hornet's nest. And I have found through my observations, don't respond. Why should you? They're not entitled to a response from you. If somebody approached and said, you know what, I really want to start a genuine, honest conversation. I'm genuinely interested in this. I would consider it. But if it's one of the usual suspects, it's dismissed out of hand. These folks have had their chance. That means the mainstream media. That means any news organizations, these leftist rags that do nothing but try to demote you and promote themselves. Those that constantly sow division, deceit, anarchy, chaos. Not interested. Not interested. I don't want nothing to do with that shit. I'm not out here for that. I'm out here to stop men from walking off bridges and walking into the middle of traffic. To give them some hope, to let them know, to let them understand they're not alone. You're not alone. Every one of these content creators that you see out here has been down the road that you're on. And I'm addressing men specifically that happen to find this video. Every one of us has been on the road that you're on right now, the road that you're traveling. Some of us are still on it, but we have hope because we understand now. We understand. And it's not hard to gain the understanding. You must accept. That's the hard part. That's the hard part. is accepting that all of this shit might just be a dream. It might be programming in your head. You may have been led astray through generations of ignorance and subterfuge. And when you jump back in history and you start doing some looking, specifically on the subject of misandry, chivalry, you will find that you have been led astray. And passing that down from generation to generation is a powerful failure. I don't look at my fathers and forefathers and necessarily blame them and give them a ration of shit. They were deceived as well. The blame lies truly, to me, in my mind, in my opinion, the blame lies with taking everybody's word for everything. Instead of doing your own diligence, doing your own research, taking everybody's word. You cannot take people's word for shit. We have supercomputers, these things right here, in the palms of our hands, and people are still too bothered to go to a search engine and double check anything. That's why we have these problems, gentlemen. They cannot debunk your stance with MGTOW. They cannot debunk what goes on with Red Pill. They cannot debunk a monk. You simply can't do it. That's why they argue, fight, bicker, scream, brigade, mass flag. Have you ever wondered why? It's not because they hate you, it's because they hate them. They hate who they are. They hate what they represent. They represent failure and weakness. And they despise you for getting out of the trap. They don't understand, and they can't understand how you do until they make an honest effort. And you won't see that, most likely, from any of them. So, gentlemen, on the way out the door today, when you start making your videos and you start commenting, and people try to draw you into bullshit to isolate you and then to try to peg you, turn you over and fuck you in the ass to try to peg you. Don't allow that to happen. You've seen the results of that here in the not too distant past. It doesn't work out too well. If you don't have all your ducks in a row, if you don't have your shit together, you're going to get taken advantage of. You feel me? Of course you do. Of course you do. I hope you all are having a wonderful day out there today. I'm on my usual drive in, looking at all this wonderful, marvelous, beautiful scenery. It is beautiful out here. If we could get these people to shape up behind the wheel and drive right, then the world would be pretty good in this part of the world. I say world twice in the same sentence. I sure did. Peace out, gents. If I have anything worth of shit to say down the road, I'll get back on here and do